passion climbs, we bring you every line. From dirt to asphalt, lights go green. Battle hard, chase the dream. Every lap, every turn. Feel that engine burn. The views and opinions shared on this program belong solely to the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of our sponsors, affiliates, or broadcast partners. All right, race fans, let's rev it up!
Why is branded apparel so important for your company? Well, because a shirt or even a hat that has your brand on it gets worn to grocery stores, baseball games, or even family reunions. The impressions are endless and they last years. Contact us today so we can help elevate your company.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another very hot Texas edition of the Revved Sports Show. Showtime Bobby Chappie right here. That is Sugar Sean Folsom across the way. And Rodney is back up on assignment up there in Indianapolis this week. So he will be back with us hopefully this week. But all things considered, he probably picked a good weekend to go because if it's hot here, he got to be hot up there. What's going on, Sean? Tell me about your day so far, my man.
Not much. Just worked and ready to relax the rest of the afternoon, and especially in the air conditioning because I sure the heck ain't going to do nothing outside. Too hot.
Yeah, it's pretty rough out there now. Yeah, I tried to work in the garage a little bit, and I lasted about 2 minutes, and I was like, "Nope, I'm done with this. I'm out." Like I was like, you know, you gotta get me. I'm done, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, let's see what we got here. Let me see. Although you know, I play with the graph, so I still don't know how half this stuff works. Because normally Rodney's the one that presses all the buttons. So, if you get some kind of weird graphic popping up, that's probably me pressing the wrong button because I'm trying to figure out how I get our names up there. But it makes sense for the people watching on Facebook. It as much sense listening on the replay. Hey, did you know? Before we get too far, I double checked, and we now have the audio replays up working on the website now. Not the archives, but the actual audio replays. You can download directly off the website, the revvedsportshow.com webpage. So that's
nice.
a good thing. Yeah. Finally getting technology to work for us. Oh, there's that picture. That's the view you don't like. Yeah, I don't know. I'll get everything figured out here in a minute. So I'm trying to figure out how to get our names up there still, but I don't know. Big weekend. Obviously, you and I got to spend the weekend with our friends over at Houston Motorsports Park. I noticed you've been posting the pictures that you were able to take, and then I got to announce with Jennifer Ashland, the normal announcer over there. So we had a good time. What was your it's the first time you've been to H&P in a hot minute? What was your first impression of it?
Well, it's actually my first time being there since 2019. I was looking at old photos, and 2019 was the last time I was there, so it's been a real hot minute. But no, it was good. I like being back at the asphalt track. You know, a little different change. Getting to see old familiar faces from the old Thunder Hill CTS days, so it was pretty cool to see all those old familiar asphalt faces. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was different being at an asphalt track and shooting photos, but you know, any track, it always comes second nature to me anymore, NASCAR wise, dirt track, so it don't matter. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was good to see all the familiar faces.
Yeah, lots of familiar faces. A lot of it has changed over the years, like the people, but your core group is still there. I thought there'd be a few more fans, but I understand that it's hot. That's going to be a lot of the struggle for every racetrack coming up here in the next couple of weeks. I know that our friends up at Cotton Bowl have a really big night number 1 planned for their summer shootout series. And then Texana's running the Fireball Phenomenon, and I'll be down there for that. You'll be over at Cotton Bowl. But, I mean, it's definitely one of those to where, you know, the races coming up at the end of July and the first part of August are always a crapshoot. Because one is it's hot, so you don't know if people are willing to sit out in the heat for that long. Number two, when you start getting back to school, you start losing crowds to a certain extent because you either have people going on school supply hunts, you know, using that extra money that they would normally use to buy tickets to the racetrack, or you got the families that are going on last minute weekend vacations before the kids go back to school, and you got some other stuff. So those the last couple of weeks, I noticed some of the racetracks are trying to counteract that by doing back to school nights and stuff like that. I got 2 dogs behind me now. But we most of the tracks are trying to do the back to school drive. You'll see that at a lot of racetracks. I know that they tried to do that down at the race ranch last weekend. And then we'll be doing it at Texana. I don't know exactly when Cotton Bowl does theirs. I don't know, but I know ours is going to be with the STEM series, so that'll be an interesting match. That'll be coming up in a couple of weeks there on August the 8th. So, but I guess the big news for us locally would be the news that broke last night. I sent it to you, right?
Yes, sir.
And that news would be that the property that the South Texas Race Ranch sits on has now officially been sold. And it's always been rumored that, I mean, it's not a rumor that the track had been for sale for the right price for a long time. Everything is for sale for the right price. In the words of Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, everybody's got a price.
Money talks.
Money talks. And so they finally worked out a deal. It's the steel plant. From what I understand, it's the steel plant behind the racetrack that bought the property. There is options on there for it to be considered to still be a racetrack, but it has to make business sense for the new property owners. Most of the time, it does not make business sense. We've seen that over the course of the last, handful. In Corpus Christi, there was CC Speedway where it got bought out by the junkyard and got turns 1 and 2 disappeared out of the place. So I think that it was definitely it wasn't a shock to the system, so to speak, last night when we all saw it, but I think it definitely became a talking point, and it really became a rally cry because everybody, for it to remain a racetrack there in 2027, they've got to make sure that it's a good business investment for the new landowners, and that's got to be you got to have an all call there. You got to have drivers, cars, everything show up for that. I don't know. That's like I said, it didn't come as a surprise because they haven't been shying away from the fact it's for sale, but now to admit that it's been sold when one of the track owners gets on there and releases a statement on Facebook makes it pretty real, man. That's going to be a challenge for South Texas racing coming up.
Yeah, more than definitely.
Well, also when you throw in the fact that I-37 has Ray and Mike announced that they're no longer going to be promoting the racetrack down there. So you got 2 major South Texas Speedway racetracks in limbo in terms of what's going to happen for 2027. Texana hasn't announced what they're going to do yet. I don't know I'm not privy to that information as of just yet. So I don't know. It's a tough time for the racetracks out there. Like they said in that press release from the race ranch is that a lot of racetracks do not make a lot of money, and they are not kidding. Only certain tracks end up making money. So
yeah, it seems like tracks put more money in than they do receive, unfortunately, nowadays. It's not a cheap business to run a track for sure.
Yeah, definitely one of those. Checking in with El Jefe right here. We're sitting here talking about. Let me see if I could pull up a part of the statement from what it said, so I don't end up misquoting anybody. Let's see here. It says we want to bring everybody up to speed about South Texas Race Ranch. The facility and land have been sold. From day one, after acquiring the track, our intentions were to race as long as we could financially at the right time, flip it for a profit. We're racers, but also business people as well. As long as the track showed a potential future, we would keep it open. Racers, sponsors, supporters have always been a top priority. Going into last year with a last-minute management change, the future was very unsettled. Even though we've only had 5 races this year due to rainouts, this year our track has shown promise. Tracks today simply don't make money every race, and we understand that. However, as a body of work and a result from this year, we've had excitement from fans, drivers, and sponsors giving us hope for the future of racing at South Race Ranch. The effort put forth to repair a heavily damaged facility due to weather showed the passion we needed to see in the event this track didn't sell. The South Texas Race Ranch will be open for the event for the remainder of the 2026 season, and the commitment to the drivers, sponsors, and fans will not change. It says we included in the sale of South Texas Race Ranch a 2027 option to keep it racing. The new owners have an interest in racing, so we can honestly say that racing for the future is pending for 2027 and after. Moving forward for 2027 depends on how 2026 ends. Opportunities for 2027 are wide open and hopeful. And as these opportunities close, others open, and we want South Texas Race Ranch to be in a position to take full advantage. So, yeah, that's not the whole statement. That's just in part of it. But that was from one of the managing partners and owners of the racetrack. So, what's your main takeaway? The fact that they're still thinking about, wanting to race in 27, or what's your better take on that? What did you get out of that statement when you read it last night?
I mean, to be honest, it sounds more like that there is maybe hope that they'll be racing in 27. So that's maybe a bright side to the whole situation. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where a track sells, but maybe hopefully the new owners will, want to keep it as a racetrack. I mean, let's hope it's not like a whole CTS situation where it goes away and nobody has anywhere to race anymore. But yeah, I hope it stays open for 27, at least for those guys down there in the Corpus area. I know they would love that track, so it'd be great for them since it's mostly in their backyard. So
yeah, Corpus has a long history of racing, very, very long, both pavement and dirt racing down there in the city and subsequent stuff. So it'll be a sad day if the racetrack goes, but I have a feeling the Phoenix will rise and somebody else will be able to take over that track or build a track or something. They're not building themselves, but I think Corpus is too big of a metropolitan area and not have a racetrack. So those statements that we read earlier is from South Texas Race Ranch track co-owner Bill Dunker, is who those were from. So long way to go. I mean, it's the good thing about Corpus is that they always say races to a certain extent, right? Because when it comes time to try to get stuff to work, and the work days, people have come out and been helping out with the work days, and then they've come out and actually helped with the damage. That place is pretty tore up from a couple of them storms they got, with the fence getting knocked down, the poles knocked down, and it's been kind of a tough go from day one with some of the I know the PA system crashed on opening night, so they've just had a hell of a time in 26. But everybody down there, we've had Danielson on, the promoter, a couple of times to just talk this and honest about how the stuff works down there. So yeah, but it's been an interesting way to make it work, man.
Yep.
Let's see here. Oh, don't forget to get to your photo of the week.
Oh yeah, don't forget that. That's kind of important.
Yeah, it's kind of very important. So let's see here. Let's go and see what we got for chat. So we've had let's see here. All right, let's see. Kind of getting back to the chats here. We've got a couple of people. Got some go-kart. I got a go-kart racer from Texana on. Yes, we can see you. Yes, we can see you now. We've just been a little busy working on getting the Corpus stuff working. Hey, there we go. There's our names again.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, now we're back up and running. So, that's how that works. Okay, got it. All right. I don't know what I just did, but anyway, so in terms of, I'm all totally just discombobulated, it's the extra dogs today. That's what it is down here in this crazy cave down here. What tell us about what's coming up at Cotton Bowl? I know this is one of their big races a year. We talked about this being a slow season for racetracks, but it seems like the over at Cotton, and this is about the third or fourth year that they've done this summer shootout, where they get a lot of large purses coming together for a couple of races, do a mini point fund in the summer, and talk about what's coming up here the next couple of weeks there at Cotton Bowl Speedway.
Yeah, actually, this weekend is the start of our Summer Showdown series. So it's a 3-night race weekend, or three nights every week, or it's 3 race nights, but it's every weekend basically. So it's basically this weekend we'll have the STEM series racing with us, an extra class, and then it's all of our regular classes, all 5 of the regular classes. But each race night each weekend will be actually 1,000 to win for the factory stocks. So that's pretty interesting for each night to actually have 1,000 to win for the factories. But yeah, it's going to be Summer Showdown series. It's draw redraw, I think, every night. So that'll be interesting. Draw redraws always seem to be a fun, interesting race weekend. And but yeah, I think it's going to be a good weekend with Cotton Bowl having the start of the Summer Showdown series. We usually sometimes get some other newer drivers to come down and try the track for the series, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. That says, when it comes to this is you'll like this. This is what we just got. Just got in on the text part. Can't
Yeah.
see me. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
In terms of like the overall scope of it, though, it really does a great job coming through and trying to bring out the best of Cotton Bowl Speedway. Like you said, you end up getting some new drivers, and just the way the schedules are shaking out, man, with everybody just scheduled on top of each other. It's hard to get extra cars.
Yes.
It's hard to get the extra cars because when you got like Texana racing and 37 racing, and then you got nationals for factory stocks that pay 30,000-40,000 to win, you got a lot of those guys, local guys are like, you know what, I want to go to the nationals. They may finish 30th out of 30 cars, but they want to go.
Yeah.
And so that becomes the issue. So, man, just sitting there about to die coughing here.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I think that 1,000 to win though for the factory stocks each race night of the series will actually help out a lot. Maybe bring in some other factory stocks. I mean, we always have a good factory stock class, anyways. We're usually pretty packed with those, but I think with this 1,000 to win, it'll help out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the one thing about Cotton Bowl is that their drivers are very, very loyal, and that's something you need in today's racing economy. Is that she definitely has, Marianne, the promoter, definitely has a lot of loyal racers that come to her every week. Every week they're open, so and every track has that. I think that it's the same thing with fans. You have your fans that are loyal and be there from for whatever reason. They be there from the second the gate opens at 5 o'clock and the heat down to the last checkered flag. But those people are few and far between now. You don't see them as much as you used to see them. As it was, like I said, there's so much. Even though Cotton Bowl, as I've always said, that it's a blessing and a curse for Cotton Bowl because they're out in the middle of nowhere, and that's a good thing because they're out in the middle of nowhere. Although, granted, there's a house right next door to the racetrack.
Yeah.
But I think one of the other parts that's crazy about it is that that's detrimental too because it's so far out. I mean, you're what are you 6-7 miles from the booming metropolis of Giddings, and you're about 15 miles from the bigger booming metropolis of Bastrop. So I think that your ability to try to get sponsors and fans and stuff that far over definitely becomes a challenge when you're trying to get racers to the racetrack. So I think that becomes a challenge. So, but it comes down to a little bit. It does come down to loyalty to a certain extent these days. So I know we're working on at Texana, working on a plan with Marianne to try and cross promote a couple of the big season ending races that we have coming up with her with the Oktoberfest and then us with the Clash. So we'll start working on that. But yeah, I don't know, dude. It's a challenge to get the racing stuff going these days. So what's missing? Is it just people aren't into cars as much as they were, or what do you think is the deal? Is there just too much to do now in all these major metropolitan areas? Like even though you got Bastrop doesn't have a lot to do, but it's so hard to pull people from Austin now because 30, 40 years ago, Austin was still weird, but there wasn't that much stuff to do as it is now.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it too. Is there's you got Austin, and every weekend or every day there's something to do in Austin, like a either convention or some kind of car show or something like that going on in town or whatever. So I mean that, and I don't know. I just think that it just I don't know. It's just I don't know what it is really. It's just a lot of stuff that goes on in Austin, I guess, that we can't just pull them out there. But I think we do our best to try to get as many fans or and racers out there to the track as possible.
Yeah, that's the main thing. When you go to a racetrack, call your friends, call your buddies, bring them out to the racetrack. If they've never been, force them to go. And if they hadn't been in a long time, force them to go again. So that's the best thing. The best thing you can do at a racetrack is to bring a friend every time you go. And that's a good thing. I know when I try to get out there locally to Cotton Bowl, I try to bring a couple of new fans with me every chance I get. So that becomes the goal, right? Is that you want to have as many people in the stands as you can, because as we said before on the show, the most expensive seat at a racetrack is the empty one.
Yes.
And so, all right, let's see here. Let me see. I was going to try to pull up the event schedule for this weekend. I know that Cotton Bowl's been actively promoting their stuff this week, and it's going to be kind of a heavy Cotton Bowl Texana show this evening. Obviously, with it was kind of a I would say last minute decision to do the show, but it definitely wasn't overly abundantly planned this week. So that's how we roll. As the original intro used to say, we kind of have a game plan, but we don't always follow it. So
We're always on the seat of our pants with the show, right?
yeah, always. So let's see here. So we've got the factory stocks 1,000 to win. Also going to be the Stems modified series, the Southern Touring IMCA modified series. They got a hell of a points battle coming up with the two guys that have been on this show a lot. You got Jared Maupin, who's the points leader, and Johnny Torres just a couple of points behind him with South Texas Sweet Tea. So that'll be fun to watch those guys go at it. Johnny's had some bad luck, but still managed to stay up into points. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. Obviously, Jared Maupin doubling up there at Houston, winning both the Pro Modified and the TNO Maintenance Pro Trucks down there in Houston. So, did you notice in Houston there really wasn't that many cautions that night?
Yes.
Racing
yes.
ended up going by pretty fast.
Yeah,
Russ helping out Mike Meekum.
That, and it was a kind of single file all night long too. But that happens sometimes.
Yeah, it kind of it's the way that Houston works. Sometimes you go and you see Houston barn burning side by side. You see that a lot back in the day in the early 2010s when they would put the drag strip, the PJ1 stuff on the outside lane, they would apply it like they would the top of the drag strip or the lower end of the drag strip, and so you can see a lot of side by side racing. And so not so much anymore. It looks like after over the years that stuff is worn off. And produce some of this. You still get it. I mean, we got to see some of it there for a while. There on some of the starts and restarts that were the limited restarts we had, but I think it's just the way of the world. I mean, that's we talk a showcase about the different having lots of stuff to do in a major metropolitan area like Houston. That's the challenge that track has always faced. You only needed to get just a itty bitty percentage of Houston to know about it. But even back in the day when it was NASCAR sanctioned and hot and heavy, I mean, a lot of people thought the Houston Motorsports Park was the Sam Houston Raceway Park, the horse track. So there's always, and I think it's just, it's the nature of the beast nowadays. Like you remember back when we were racing, back at the CTS days, or hell, even back in the Longhorn days, Roddy and I talk about the what we call it the good old days, when you were running every single week from Memorial Day to Labor Day, every single week, every Saturday night, nonstop. Then we switched to every other week. When we went, San Antonio started it, then Kyle became the second part of it, and it just became kind of a normal way to do it, racing every other week. There's still tracks that race every week. 105 in Houston does it every week. Waco still does it every week on a Friday when they're not getting rained out. But I think that it becomes a challenge to where the way schedules are done now, it's business models are, I think the business model works that it's, every other week is kind of a good thing. Twice a month, basically, is a good way to do it. But, there's gaps in schedules, and it's like, especially down in Houston where you basically run it once a month, except for a couple of months where you get twice a month. But that's such a challenge down there for those guys to try to keep that momentum up. Every time they get a good race and a good momentum, boom, they're off for 3 or 4 weeks. So I think that's a challenge down there. But I still love that place. There's a special place in my heart for Houston Motorsports Park. That's where one of the places I got started. Had a great time down there, and it was.
Hello.
But I guess now we'll go back to Cotton.
What was that? Hello.
I wanted to get back to talk Cotton Bowl, and is me on that because he ended up saying that we would talk about Jared being a point leader there at Stems, and then talk about him winning the race over at Houston Motorsports Park. So the Summer Showdown Series at Cotton Bowl, as Sean mentioned, redraw every night will be July 25th, August 1st, and August 8th. So basically back to back weekends. 3 races of combined points and top 5 position bonus payout of all the 3 race events. You have to compete in all 3 events to qualify for it. So they've got their sponsors and stuff racing there. $1,000 guaranteed to win in the factory stocks for all 3 nights of the Summer Showdown Series. And then obviously they have their normal racing tickets. $20 for 13 and up, 7 to 12 for the kiddos, or 10 kids 6 and under are free. Military with the IDs, $18. And then they got VIP seating and no glass bottles. You can bring in your own cooler, just no glass bottles. That's a $10 fee. So lots of stuff. It's I have fun when I go to Cotton Bowl too, but it's hard when they start racing. Everybody, there's so many dates to go through, and there we end up being double booked a lot of times. So what's you've been there all season. Obviously you get to see a limited bit of the actual the snapshot, if you will, with no pun intended, with snapshot of a camera. But from your view, I mean, you spend a lot of time down there. Yes, a lot of time behind the lens, but talk about the family aspect of Cotton Bowl in terms of because there really is a family feeling when you get there. Talk about that. You've been part of that family for a long time, so talk about that family appeal there at Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it is like a family. It's every time I go through those gates at Cotton Bowl in the pits, I just get a big old happy smile on my face because I love just being at the track. But being there and working there for so many years, it has been a lot of fun. And then just the way all the officials and everybody, all of us work together and try to keep the drivers and them safe and try to run a good, clean, fast show. That's one thing we love to do down there at Cotton Bowl, is to make sure we have a fast show. But it's family oriented, and we try to incorporate a lot for the fans, and just like a couple weeks ago when we did this stuff for the little girl that passed away, that was a big thing also, which was pretty cool. And so, we try to do as much as we can for the fans, and to incorporate a lot into that for the fans too. And then just have the drivers also. It's a lot of fun down there.
Fun is the name of the game, that is for sure. Marion's got a dedicated crew, both on the driver's side and the staff side. Most of the people that have been down there have been with her for a hot minute, and it definitely shows in the way that they produce their shows down there. So
I've been with Marianne since 2009 THR days, so I've been in the ropes for a while.
Yeah, definitely. They end up, even though I had a couple of people at Houston, they were like begging me. They're like, you gotta talk to Marianne. I'm like, what for? Like, you got to get her to do a TSRS reunion one night, and so maybe we'll figure out a way to do that one night. There's a lot of those guys and gals with TSRS are still around. Some of them, it's just the cyclical nature of racing. If they have kids that didn't want to do racing, they ended up wanting to do softball or baseball or football. Those became more important things to go to than racing on a Saturday night. It's not that they lost the fire of it, not that they lost the feel of it. They just ended up having, I talk to Mason Teague all the time, and he misses racing to a certain extent, but it's missing more in quotation marks because he's having such great time making memories with his kids doing baseball and softball and t-ball and stuff. So that and he was a dedicated racer, ran all those times, him and his dad third and his grandpa third, 3 generations of racers. For whatever reason, the kiddos, Maya just decided he didn't want to end up doing the quarter midget stuff. So that became the route that they took, was baseball seasons on Saturday morning. So not a lot of time to work on race cars. So speaking of quarter midgets, dude, our little buddy Isaac, I know you were behind the camera, but you got to hear him on the mic.
Oh,
That
yeah.
little kid did pretty good there for announcing his friends in the quarter midgets, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He definitely put on a show, and I don't know. I think he might be the next Bobby or Rodney. That kid really, he had the handle of the mics. I mean, he's been racing with the associations for a while now, so he knows everybody that races with them, just kind of like you and Rodney do with everybody that races around here. So I mean, yeah, he took the mic and he really ran with the show, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was definitely a change. It's so good to have him do that because one is that the numbers on the side of a quarter midget are hard to read because they're really, really tall. They're only about 11 inches tall, and unless you're right there next to them, it's hard to see. And then having to guess because what's funny about the quarter midgets, their numbers change all the time, and that just becomes a challenge to announce. And I'm glad that he knows everybody or knew who everybody was to be able to do that. So. So I guess while we're on the subject, I guess we'll do it early this week, because if I don't do it now, I'm going to forget. So tell us about, as soon as I get to it, tell us about this picture this week for the Sean Fossel Photography Photo of the Week, dude.
Well, that is, believe it's the juniors class. It's the 7 to 9-year-olds, and just them lining up for their feature or heat race or feature, either or. But just the orderly of them lining up in order and everything like that, and that being that young, it shows that they are dedicated to racing for sure. But yeah, it was pretty cool to actually be able to watch them out there at the big track, and those kids just loved it. They were eating it up, just being able to actually race, around the big track there with the big car. So, but yeah, that one's the 7 to 9-year-olds, and they're lining up for their feature. So, thought that would be a good little fitting photo to show off the quarter midgets from this past weekend.
Yeah, no, it's a great picture we got there, and they had one. I only had one mid-major accident there, where one of the kids popped the fence or the inside of the pit wall, but he bounced back because he was like the paramedics and stuff were asking him, if he's okay, and he's more worried about his car.
Yeah.
Than he was anything else. So like, well, the
that,
car's fine. How are you?
He was worried about his friend too, because his friend spun out in front of him, and then he basically kind of like T-boned his friend and pushed him into the wall there, and they ran into that solid concrete wall. So yeah, he was worried about himself, but he also wanted to go and check up on his buddy too, to make sure his buddy was fine, because that wreck actually happened right in front of me as I was shooting photos of it. So
yeah, that was definitely hard hit. You could hear the thud. I was actually talking to Bruce Wright and JB Wolf over there, and when it happened, so we heard the big thud and had to come through. It was like, oh boy, that was a little rough. So, but before we get back we'll end up talking about all the things from this weekend, and then coming up, we'll do a preview of Texana Raceway Park. But before we do that, let's hear another commercial from our friends over at My Race Pass and On Demand Shirts.
Welcome to the My Race Pass app, the #1 app for motorsports fans. We want to make sure you get the most out of your My Race Pass app experience. With your new free account, you can use the My Race Pass app to see race day information, including event entries and official lineups and results for over 600 organizations across North America. You can also see track information and purchase online event tickets for select tracks. With your free account, you can also search for a track or series on the My Race Pass app and favorite their profile to receive news and race day notifications on your mobile device. To see more information and to see which app subscription is best for you, be sure to visit getmrpapp.com. My Race Pass, the ultimate racing resource.
precision, consistency. Just like in racing, these are our values as screen printing, embroidery, and everything in between. If it's branded, we can do it.
All right, back here live on a Wednesday, as we said, very hot record-setting day today here in the greater Texas area for us down in Texas. So as we move along, we've got another big race happening down at Texana Raceway Park this weekend, the Fireball Phenomenon 2. After the first race was so successful, having a really good car count and fan count coming out for the first ever race for the Fireballs. If you're not familiar with what a Fireball is basically kind of an old school street stock looking class. What it is, some of them are old late models, some of them are old street stock, some of them are old with limited late models. So there's a large array of different stuff that's there when it comes through to do to all of the stuff. So we've got the Fireball class coming out this weekend, $1,500 to win, and then it stair steps from there down. So lots of good racing action. Sean, you still with me? I can't tell if your internet's cutting out or not. I know that you were questioning.
Oh no, I'm still here.
Maybe I'm just yapping too much. That's what it is this week. But
no, you're good.
I don't know if you got to see our promotion that we're doing. I know Rodney is excited about it. I am too. With the show,
yeah, I saw it.
I posted it the other day on the Facebook page. I did not think to download the picture of it, but we're teaming with Longhorn Liquor out of Hallettsville, Texas. Hallettsville is a little town kind of on the way to Edna, depending on which way you're going or coming from. And we got with Mark Wright down there. And what we're doing is the winner of the Fireball class is going to win a fire keg, one of them great big kegs of Fireball. Of course, now granted, the caveat is you have to be 21 or older to win it. But we're going to do first place with the keg, and then the last place ends up getting a bottle of Fireball. So we figured the first place is going to want to celebrate, and the last place is going to want to not celebrate as much. So that's going to be one of those big promotions. Also have the Dwarf Car Race Series. The Texas showed up at Texana to make their second race of the night, or second appearance of the season, I guess I should say, in terms of that. So lots of cool stuff happening with that coming in. And then, one of these days we'll actually, it's going to work out and you'll get to come to Texana. I know that our normal photographer is not going to be there, but you're tied up at Cotton Bowl. So,
I saw that y'all were needing a photographer, and I was like, oh wait, Cotton Bowl's racing. Never mind.
Yeah, so we got a lot of cool stuff with the Fireball keg and some other stuff. Also, one of the racers, Cooper Kaliba, his 22nd birthday is on Sunday, and his mom, our family race team, has decided that they want to add $100 to fourth place on every single race of the 6 classes. So that's kind of a bump. We'll see people kind of, if they think about it and they're running third, they may drop back to fourth just to win an extra $100 if you're thinking about it. So most of the time the drivers like that forget about it. I mean, I remember one time racing I had to race for the Hard Charger Award, and I know I needed to get one spot. And so I ended up getting one more spot. Sometimes you think about that, sometimes you don't. So sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, right? Some kind of, isn't that a country song? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Or is that a commercial? I don't remember.
It might be a commercial. I don't know.
Oh, that's right. It's what is it? It's a candy bar. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Oh yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, that's where it is. That's where I heard that before. So, but yeah, lots of cool stuff happening. Yeah, you spend too much time at work. That's the problem. But lots of stuff, as we said, down at Texana. You can get all the information. The main place to go is going to be on the Facebook page. There's a chance of the R word happening with that wonderful tropical storm depression thing, but it made landfall today. It basically fell apart. So it looks like it's going to be good to go for this race weekend. As we said, $1,500 to win for the Fireball Phenomenon 2 race. Dwarf Car Race Series of Texas, as always, any class with 18 or more cars, regular classes, they get $1,000 to win. Also going to have the EMOD races coming up with the South Texas EMOD series. So should be a pretty good night. They race for bonus money in the EMODs, and then a lot of extra EMODs show up for that particular race night when they're running for double points. So it will be definitely going to be busy for the old vocal cords there for me, but yeah, definitely going to have a challenge. Pit passes are $30. General admission for adults is $20. Seniors 65 and up and military with ID is $15. Children 6 to 12 are $10, and kids 5 and under are free. So all the information. The best place to go, especially with the potential of the wet stuff, is to check out the Facebook page, or you can check out TexanaRacewayPark.com. So now let's see here. Well, we know a lot of people don't like it when we switch gears and talk about the Cup Series, but we have to talk about it a little bit. I know you didn't get a big chance to watch the race because you were working with photos and some other stuff, but I'm surprised at we nailed it last week when we said it was somebody's gonna end up nailing the setup and somebody's gonna end up walking the dog, and that's exactly what Joey Logano did, leading a whole bunch of laps. And everybody talked about it being an old school racetrack, an old school race. There were 6 cars on the lead lap. And the funny part about this is, dude, and you follow NASCAR enough, the natives are not as restless as I thought they were going to be, with only 6 cars finishing on the lead lap there at North Wilkesboro. We thought for sure that there'd be a lot more uproar about it, but it doesn't seem to be a lot. What do you think? It's just because everybody's happy we got a points race at North Wilkesboro for the first time in 30 years?
I think that's exactly what it was. I was watching Facebook some during the week, and everybody's like, finally, they're getting a full actual cup race instead of just an actual all-star race. So that was I know a lot of people were excited about that. But then you also had the Cars Tour and all them racing there that same weekend. So that brought in a lot of people too, I'm sure.
Yeah, friend of the show, Caden Honeycutt, doubling up on the Cars Tour there on Friday night, winning both the pro late model and the the actual late model stock portion of it. And then Saturday was a very interesting race in terms of we got to listen to part of it and watch part of it on the way to Houston, but I don't know. It was a lackluster finish for me with an 8. I mean, you have an 8-second lead on a short track that's less than 3/4 of a mile. That's that's miles gapping between first and second place. But I think the truck racing is going to end up picking up here. Surprising notes: Shane Van Gisbergen finished 3rd in the truck race. I think that's what helped him out on Sunday night. What's your take on these Sunday night races, dude? Like, a lot of people, I guess because it was only delayed by 10 minutes with a little passing shower, but a lot of people, they're still not over this Atlanta thing where the Atlanta race ended at 1:00 or 2:00 in the morning Eastern time. So what's your take on these Sunday night races? It's TV, dude. It's gotta be what TV wants sometimes, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, whatever works for TV nowadays. But I mean, the night races are okay, I guess. It gives the people that a chance, that go to church or whatever, to get home and actually be able to watch a race, or that have parties and stuff during the day and want to watch the race. At least in the afternoon, they get to watch the race. But yeah, I think it's all right. It doesn't bother me none. I mean, I'll watch it either way, either in the afternoon or at night. So.
Yeah, I think obviously the another surprise to me, obviously my guy, Shane Van Gisbergen, had probably the oval race of his life there on Sunday night. Actually took the lead twice, once from Joey Logano, one of the few times, and then once from Denny Hamlin, and was able to start checking out on the field, led some laps and got a top 5 finish out of it. So I think that was good for him and his points night. And I think that was that's what he needs is seat time. He said he learned some stuff in the truck, although he said it was hot, but he ended up kind of giving away the stage coming out of turn number 4. Said he was mad at himself for that when he finished second to Ty Gibbs there coming to the end of stage 1. But got points is what he needed, because he's now got a little bit of a cushion between himself and the cutoff. Gained a spot there on the cutoff for the chase. It still feels weird saying chase instead of playoffs after they did the playoffs for 12 years. But it's kind of like the Craftsman Truck Series. Every time I say Craftsman Truck Series, I feel like it's wrong. But because it wasn't the Craftsman Truck Series for a long time. Speaking of the trucks will race Friday night at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I love that racetrack. I used to love watching the Busch Series race there back in the day when they only ran the Cup Series on the big track. So I'm excited. What's your take on the Truck Series here recently? I mean, it's gone beyond a development series, and you got some guys in there that are actually able to put on some pretty good shows now that Corey Himes no longer in there spanking the field.
Yeah, I think the trucks are a good series. I like watching them, even whenever they're here at Texas or at Coda or wherever they're at. I like watching them. They're a pretty good series. I've always liked the trucks. But yeah, I think it's going to be good. I'm not too worried about them.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a good show, especially at IRP. I don't know what it's called now. I don't know if it's IRP, ORP. They always change the name with a presenting sponsor there at the racetrack. So then you get to the two big days. That's where our buddy is on assignment this week. Is actually at the Granddaddy, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You have the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I owe him $1 now. You have the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series racing there on Saturday at the Brickyard, and then you've got the Cup Series Brickyard 400 coming up here the next week on Sunday. It'll be a Sunday afternoon race because obviously they don't have lights at the Brickyard. But tell me about, where does the Brickyard 400 in your mind fit in the hierarchy? I mean, a lot of people say we don't need to be there, but we've been going there for 30 years plus since 1994. And I mean, it's in my opinion, it's a crown jewel now that it's back on the oval. It wasn't much of a crown jewel when it was on the road course in my mind. But where does it fit in the hierarchy? I mean, is it still one of the 4 tent poles of your assessment of the NASCAR stuff?
I think so. I mean, the history's there, especially racing history. I've been to Indianapolis a couple of times to check out the track, but when I was younger, my grandparents actually live in Indiana, so I used to go visit there a couple of times to go take tours and stuff. But yeah, I think it's a good track, and it is, like you said, one of the tent poles basically to the series. I think it is. They need to still race there. I think that the history's there, and they continue it.
Yeah, I think racing there is kind of like racing at Coda. It's kind of one of the tracks you have to be at, right? It's the way that it's going to shake out to work and stuff like that. But I think it is a tempo race. Obviously, you got the Daytona. Any race that you can refer to as just the 500 or just the 400 or just the 600, I think it's right there. Like when you say the 500, most people think of Daytona 500. And then you say Southern 500. It's the Southern 500 by itself. Then you got the Coca-Cola World 600 is what a lot of people still want to call it, the World 600. And then you got the Brickyard 400. So you got the 400 to 500. There are 400, 2 500s, and a 600 is tempo races in my mind. So, the Bristol night race isn't exactly what it used to be. And then the Talladega races don't have the big time pool that they once had either. So what is your expectation though when you watch a race at Indy? Obviously, when it comes to 500 miles in the Indianapolis 500, we talked about it before. There's going to be sections of that race that are going to be boring as hell. I anticipate the same thing coming up on Sunday afternoon during the 400 because I think that it's going to end up having the same feel of being, it's going to have moments. I mean, every race gets a chance to be kind of boring and stuff. So, but what do you? The next gen car's done great for the racing there, but I still think it's going to end up having a little bit of time to get used to the longness of that race. That's a lot of laps around that place.
Yeah, I'm just glad that it's back to the oval. I mean, the road course was fine, but I'm just glad that it's back to the oval. But yeah, I think like you said, every race it kind of starts out fun and exciting and side by side racing and everything, and then towards the middle it kind of mellow out and follow the leader a little bit. But then towards the end, it's back to battling it out to try to get to the finish. So I think hopefully they'll have a very good finish and have some good battles. I hope so. It's at least what I want to see.
Yeah, definitely what we've seen over the course of the years, and it doesn't matter if it's big leagues or local tracks, a exciting finish can erase people's minds of a boring ass race. And we've definitely seen that before. We've seen that in the Cup level, seen that at the local level too. So as we get ready to wrap up the Cup season in terms of the upcoming Brickyard 400 coming up there on Sunday. So the season is there for the Cup Series. So one of the things that's coming up with the points race coming up there at North Wilkesboro is, what do you do with it? Do you take the All-Star race back there? Do you give it a points race? But if you give it a points race, who's left out in the cold like Dover was this year? Kind of stuff like that. The good news is for us locally in Texas with COTA in our backyard, with the crowds that Coda's getting and the racing that it's been putting on here lately, it looks like what the general consensus is going to be is there's probably not going to be more than 4, potentially 5 road course races a year. And you're going to have the 2 staples, Sonoma and Watkins Glen. The Glen may end up being in the chase, but we're not positive on that. We won't know till we see the schedule. And it looks like Coda has cemented itself as one of the premier road course races on the NASCAR schedule. Now the question is, do you have 4 or 5? And if you have 4 or 5, who's going to be the next 2? Do they go back to San Diego? Do they end up, is that 4th race going to be a street race somewhere, whether it be Chicago, San Diego, Denver, Seattle, wherever the case may be? I think that the one track everybody forgets about that's going to be the potential to be cut directly from the schedule is going to be Iowa, which they're coming up to race at Iowa. Now, it's a hell of a market in terms of selling out because it's a smaller venue, but I think Iowa's always running the risk of being on the chopping block. So I think that I know that NASCAR wants to go to Canada real bad. And but I think Coda, for lack of a better way to describe it, I think Coda's safe now for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I like the racing at Coda. I've ever since they started there, I've loved being there to watch the races and shoot photos of it too. But just to see the racing action there and the side by side and the battles in the corners and stuff like that, I like the road course racing a little bit too because of that. Just kind of adds that extra excitement instead of just lap after lap kind of following the lead or a lot of drafting. I think the bumper to bumper racing is kind of what I like sometimes. Adds a little excitement to it.
Yeah, it does. I think that I also think that the configuration has come through when they put to the international course and made the short course. It actually has changed that racetrack. It actually has made that race a lot better from a fan perspective. So I think that's a lot of fun. I think San Diego's coming back. I think they'll definitely make some changes to that layout because to me, the San Diego track was too big. But I think it was successful enough where they're going to try to want to do it again. And I think that that's the next evolution. I think they add 1. I think they get to 5. Unfortunately, I think the Roval's out because everybody wants to go back to the Oval at Charlotte. But I also think that they need a road course in there. You need one more natural road course that alternates out, and then you need a street course or temporary road course, whatever the case may be, like Chicago and or San Diego. So I think that'd be a great way to add it in there. So. But that's coming. That's the schedule should be out hopefully here pretty soon. I think hopefully they're trying to figure out what to do with Rockingham because I hope that race stays on there. One, because I'm a fan and I like to go to that race, but we get an opportunity to just see. I don't know. I really hope they get to Canada, whether that be Mossport outside of Toronto or if they go back to Montreal, one of the two. I know the O'Reilly races they had back in the day at Montreal, you needed a boat to get through it. But those races were a lot of fun in Montreal there at the same course that the F1 cars raced on. So we'll see. I'm interested in seeing it. Also, I love the trucks on a road course. They've put on some of the best races of the year. I loved them in St. Pete. I thought they did great in St. Pete. I also thought the truck race there in San Diego was the best race of the weekend there on Friday afternoon down at San Diego. So I thought that the trucks have done an exceptional job. I think they would do better on the short course there at Coda than they did on the great big long course at Coda. So I think that, if you put them in there in 6A and 6B, I think that would change that race and make that race there. I love having the trucks there when it was all 3 series. So we'll see what they do for 2027. So lots of stuff going on. So I think that covers just about everything. I know we didn't do a lot of extra planning for this one, but I think we're ready to go in terms of covered most everything. I know that our friends down at 37 will be racing here shortly. But let me pull up their schedule real quick. Should have had this all pulled up already, but let's see what we got. Yeah, we got 37. The Race Ranch races on the 1st. But everybody except for Cotton Bowl and Texana are racing. Next weekend, you've got the Race Ranch and Cotton Bowl racing again. And then the following weekend, you've got everybody racing on the 8th. You've got the STEM series coming up to Texana. You got Cotton Bowl racing for the summer shootout. And then you've got I-37 racing there on the 8th as well. And then you come through. Oh, hey, you know what? 8:15. Well, you'll be busy, but I could actually go to Houston and race that Crown Vic car. I don't
Yeah,
know. I may be able to do the 21st too. That season ender down there in November. We'll have to shake that out because ain't nobody else racing except for Houston. So and then the
there you go.
17th is the same weekend as the Clash. So we'll try to see what we can shake out on that deal to maybe race some Crown Vics for them down there. So
Yeah.
but other than that, dude, that's all we got for this race weekend. Thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll look back to getting with you next week. Kind of same story. Depends on when Rodney's coming back from Indy and what all he's got shaken out for the middle part of the week. If not, it'd be me and Sean again at some point, and we'll get ready to do the show again. But until then, we'll see you when we see you at the racetrack. Y'all be good and have a great week, guys.